Powered by passion, it's National Auto Care's Fixed Ops 5 with your host, National Fixed Operations Training Manager, Corey Smith.
Welcome to the Fixed Ops 5 podcast. I'm your host, Corey Smith, with special guest this week, Jay Lawrence, who is the Field Training Director for National Auto Care. Jay, how are you doing today?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being a part of this episode.
No worries. Thanks, Corey.
So these days, you've probably noticed that there are a lot of stress on your F&I departments. After all, they are the ones that are dealing with every single deal that goes out the door. As with other departments, it's important for your F&I department to really not function on their own island. They need to be part of a team. Being a trainer yourself, Jay, have you seen the disconnect between sales and service, or F&I and service?
Absolutely. I think that there's some communication disconnect between basically all of the departments, particularly F&I and service. They don't spend a lot of time communicating with each other, talking to each other, addressing meetings and that kind of stuff. But it impacts new car sales and used car department as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was a service advisor, and one thing that always drove me nuts was when a customer came in for the first time and they had a warranty issue, it was not covered, and the customer would say, well, the F&I person told me it was covered bumper to bumper.
Right. And if the service department invited the finance person into their meetings from time to time and talk about the rehash of those deals where something wasn't covered, they get a better sense, the finance department would get a better sense of how they're presenting the product to the customer at the point of sale versus when the customer comes into the service department for a repair.
Yeah.
Because it may not be something that they're doing directly to mislead the customer. They may be talking about a pinnacle type coverage, and then the customer decides that they want to go with a lesser coverage like preferred or medallion. And all of a sudden the customer remembers they were talking about pinnacle, but they actually bought a preferred or a medallion.
Right. Because at that time of sale, I mean, the customer is getting thrown all kinds of stuff from the F&I department and getting educated very quickly, right?
Absolutely, yes. Time is critical.
Right. So how can training the service advisor help with this disconnect?
Well, I think that ultimately the most successful dealerships that I've seen over the years that I've been in the business are dealerships where the dealer has a management meeting that includes service manager, finance manager, new car manager, used car manager, GM, GSM, etc. So, that line of communication, strengthening that helps everybody. From a training perspective, we can certainly provide training through the service drive training that you provide, or the F&I training that I provide, or sales training that we as a company provide, to help kind of enhance those lines of communication.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. And, the service department does see more customers per day than the sales and F&I department. Your average service advisor, according to JD Power, is dealing with between 12 and 15 customers per day. So they could be your number one salesperson if you show them and teach them how to educate the customer. Could we offer service contracts out of the drive? Would that help with retention?
Absolutely. I mean, even if it's a referral and the service advisor or the service department sends the customer up to F&I to talk to them about it. I've seen dealerships that will stamp the repair order with a stamp that says your vehicle qualifies for a vehicle service contract. Call this number or see this person for more information, and they'll refer them up. Now that requires the finance person also to spend a little bit of time going back to the service department. They could go back each morning or every, once a week to see what's on the schedule and what customers are there so that they're prepared to talk to the customers as well.
I like that point, Jay. It's almost like the F&I department could have a meeting with the service department, loading their lips, so to speak, of what I'm looking for.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Going through the next day's service schedule to see what customers have a service contract, what customers don't, what ones do we want to talk to. It's almost a law of averages at that point.
Right. Right.
But how do we train the service advisor to be a successful salesperson and uncover those needs?
Go ahead.
No, I'd like to know that answer. I mean, what's in your opinion? How do we do that?
Well, I think that ultimately, in the industry, we've had service drive type training and that kind of stuff, how to go through the inspection and how to go do a walk around in the service drive to show the customer certain things that might be wrong with their vehicle. And we've had training for F&I people to try and encourage them to talk to the service department. But I've never, ever seen a training class where you have both the service drive people and F&I people in the same room at the same time.
Now NAC does offer F&I seminars. We were just at one a few weeks ago. Could we start inviting service advisors to come to these seminars? Would it be beneficial?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it would depend obviously on the course content and that kind of stuff. We would, make some adjustments to make sure that we're talking about things that are impactful. If you're talking about selling skills, a service advisor who understands sales process and selling skills is better equipped to talk to the customer, even about things like upselling the repairs. Talking about the features and benefits of that. And selling is selling, regardless of whether you're selling F&I or service or a new car, used car, whatever. And so bringing them all in, if the course content was designed around how do you present to this customer and how do you provide them with features and benefits that are important to them, would be a great skill for all of them to have.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jay, this is a great topic. It really boils down to this episode being, retaining that customer, offering them service contracts out of the drive, and having both teams, really communicate. So in your mind, after this talk, what are 3 takeaways that, an advisor that's listening, or a manager that's listening, or even an agent that's listening to this episode can really take away and try to implement into their routine?
Well, I think number one is obviously the lines of communication between all departments. NADA says that a dealership that has a regular service customer is 17%, can experience a 17% increase in new car sales or vehicle sales because the customer is a regular service customer. So strengthening those lines of communication. Number 2, obviously, attend training. Get your salespeople and your service advisors and all your people trained and up to speed with regular selling skills, not just something that's specific to the walk around or the upsell and service. And then, having the finance person go back to the service drive once a week, once a month, schedule something to be back there talking to them about customers who have appointments that are coming in.
And that's perfect, Jay. Well, I love your takeaways from it. I love this topic. I really hope this helps. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule of training and everything to talk about this subject. That's all the time that we have for today on the Fixed Ops 5 podcast. Again, thank you for being a part of it. I ask every guest this, will you please come back and talk some more?
Absolutely, anytime.
All right, thanks a lot, Jay.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you for watching and listening to National Auto Care's Fixed Ops 5 with Corey Smith, powered by Passion. Be sure to watch and listen to the next episode on the 5th and 20th of every month.